Welcome to this YouTube channel. In this video we are going to talk about top 10 facts about Farabi. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Abu Nasr Farabi, also known as Al-Farabi in the West, was an early Persian philosopher and jurist who specialized in political science, metaphysics, ethics and logic. He was also a musician as well as a physicist, cosmologist and mathematician. He was regarded as the second teacher in Persian philosophical history, following Aristotle, who was known as the first teacher. Because of his commentaries and treatises, he is credited with preserving the original Greek texts throughout the Middle Ages, and inspiring many influential thinkers including Avicenna and Maimonides. He became well known in both the West and the East as a result of his works. Here are 10 interesting things about him. Number 10. The current variations in Farabi's basic accounts of his heritage and pedigree suggest that they were not documented during his lifetime, or soon after by someone with concrete knowledge, but were based on hearsay, or guesses, as is the case with other contemporaries of Farabi. His past is largely unknown. Farabi traces the history of logic and philosophy up to his time in an autobiographical passage, as well as brief mentions by Masudi, Ibn al-Nadim and Ibn Hawqal. A biography of Farabi was written by Said al-Andalusi. As a result, Arabic biographers in the 12th–13th centuries had few details to work with, and had to make up stories about his life. Number 9. He spent a considerable amount of time, most of his life, in Baghdad. With Christian scholars such as the cleric Yohanna ibn Haylan, Yahya ibn Adi, and Abu Ishaq Ibrahim al-Baghdadi, according to incidental accounts. He later lived in Damascus and Egypt until returning to Damascus in 950 to 951, where he died. His name was Abu Nasr Muhammad Farabi, and he went by the surname Tarkani, which means that the element An appears in a nisbah. His grandfather was unknown to his contemporaries, but his great name appears in Ibn Abi Uzaybiya writings and his grandfather's in Ibn Khalikan's. Number 8. His birthplace may have been any of the many places in Central Asia named Khorasan. The Persian word Farab refers to a place irrigated by effluent springs, or flowing from a nearby river. As a result, many places in that general region bear the name or various evolutions of that hydrological, geological toponym, such as Farab on the Jaxartes, Sir Darya, in modern Kazakhstan, Farab, modern Turkmenabat, on the Oxus Amu Darya in Turkmenistan, and Feriab in Greater Khorasan, modern-day Afghanistan. The older Persian toponym Parab in Hudid al-Alam or Feriab, also Feriab, means lands irrigated by river water diversion. Farab on the Jaxartes was known as Otra by the 13th century. Farabi's ethnic origin is uncertain according to most scholars. Number 7. The oldest Farabi's biographer, medieval Arab historian Ibn Abi Uzaybiya, died in 1270, states in his Ayun that Farabi's father was of Persian descent. Farabi came from a Persian background according to Shahrazuri, who lived about 1288 AD and wrote an early biography. Farabi's father was an army captain of Persian descent according to Majid Fakhri, an emeritus professor of philosophy at Georgetown University. Many other sources have also suggested a Persian origin. Farabi's works contain references and glosses in Persian, Sogdian, and even Greek, but not Turkish, according to Dimitri Gutters. His native language, as well as the language of the people of Farab, has been proposed. Muhammad Javad Mashkur claims that Central Asia is descended from Iranians. Number 6. Farabi was born to Turkic parents in the small village of Wasij near Farab in what is now Otra, Kazakhstan, according to medieval historian Ibn Khalikan, died in 1282, who notes in his work Wafayat, completed in 669 to 1271, that he was born in the small village of Wasij near Farab in what is today Otra, Kazakhstan. Some modern scholars believe he is of Turkic ancestry based on this account. Dimitri Gutters, an American Arabist of Greek descent, criticizes this, arguing that Ibn Khalikan's account is targeted at Ibn Abi Uzaybiya earlier historical accounts, and serves the function of proving a Turkic root for Al-Farabi, for example by referencing the additional nisbah, surname, al-Turk Arab. A nisbah Farabi never had. However, Abu al-Feda, who copied Ibn Khalikan, modified al-Turk to the term Wakna Rajolan Turkian, which means he was a Turkish man. In this regard, Oxford professor C.E. Bosworth observes that great figures such as Farabi, Biruni, and Ibn Sina have been attached to their race by over-enthusiastic Turkish scholars, since such supposed Turks' works lack traces of Turkic nomadic culture. R.N. Freye and Aydin Saili, on the other hand, claim that Turks lived in villages in Transoxiana long before the Seljuks arrived, during the Arab invasion and that these Turks were not nomadic. Number 5. Farabi lived in Baghdad for nearly his entire life. Farabi claimed in an autobiographical passage preserved by Ibn Abi Uzeybiya, that he studied logic, medicine and sociology with Yohanna bin Haylan, up to and including Aristotle's posterior analytics according to the order of the books studied. In the curriculum, Farabi was claiming that he had studied Porphyry's isagoge and Aristotle's categories, de interpretatione, prior and posterior analytics. Bin Haylan, his priest, was a Nestorian cleric. Masudi reports that Yohanna died during the reign of al-Muqtadir, 908 to 932, in Baghdad, so this time of research was most likely in Baghdad. According to notes in his Mabani Armangari, he was in Baghdad at least, until the end of September 942. He finished the book the following year, 331, i.e. by September 943, in Damascus. He studied in Tetuan, Morocco and lived and taught in Aleppo for a period. Farabi later visited Egypt where he completed 6 sections summarizing the book Mabade, before returning to Syria where he was assisted by Hamdanid ruler Saif al-Dawla. Farabi died in Damascus in Rajab 339 according to Masudi, who wrote just 5 years after the fact, 955 to 956, the date of the Tambi's composition, between the 14th of December 950 and the 12th of January 951. Number 4. According to Henry Corbin, the evidence supports the commonly held view in Iran that Farabi was a Shia Muslim. Corbin believes that Farabi's prophetic philosophy and Shiite Imam teachings have many parallels. Farabi's political ideology was also influenced by Shiite sects according to Najar Fauzi. Nadia Maftouni explains Shiite elements of Farabi's writings in a positive light. Farabi believes in a utopia ruled by the Prophet and his successors the Imams, as she put it in his Namak, Siyasati, Madani and Tahsil Sodat. Number 3. He was primarily an Aristotelian logician, but his works contained a variety of non-Aristotelian elements: future, contingents, the number and relationship of types. The relationship between logic and grammar and non-Aristotelian modes of inference were among the topics he explored. He is also credited with dividing logic into 2 categories, the first of which is idea and the second of which is evidence. Farabi also found conditional syllogisms and analogical inference, which were part of the Stoic rather than the Aristotelian logic tradition. Farabi's introduction of the idea of poetic syllogism in a commentary on Aristotle's Poetics was another contribution to the Aristotelian tradition. Farabi was a philosopher who founded Farabism, or a school of early Persian philosophy, that was later overshadowed by Avicennism. Farabi's school of philosophy breaks with Plato's and Aristotle's philosophy by moving from metaphysics to technique, a change that foreshadows modernity and at the philosophical level. Farabi unites theory and practice, whereas in the political sphere he liberates practice from theory. His Neoplatonic theology is more than mere rhetorical metaphysics. Farabi discovers the limits of human intelligence in his attempt to think about the essence of a first cause. Number 2. Farabi influenced science and philosophy for decades and was generally regarded as second only to Aristotle in terms of knowledge, as his title The Second Teacher suggests. His work, which sought to combine philosophy and Sufism, paved the way for Ibn Sina's work Avicenna. Farabi also wrote a commentary on Aristotle's work, and Mabani Armangara Iva Tazard is one of his most famous works, in which he theorized an ideal state similar to Plato's The Republic. Farabi, like Plato, believed that religion provided reality through symbols and persuasion, and that it was the philosopher's responsibility to offer guidance to the state. Farabi incorporated the Platonic view, drawing a contrast from the Islamic background, that he saw the ideal state being dominated by the prophet Imam, rather than the philosopher king envisaged by Plato. Number 1. The Alexandrian Neo-Aristotelian tradition had a major influence on Farabi's philosophy. He is a prolific writer with over 100 works to his name. Several prolegomena to philosophy commentaries on important Aristotelian works such as the Nicomachean Ethics and his own works are among them. Despite bringing together many different philosophical fields and cultures, his theories are distinguished by their coherence. Ptolemy's planetary model and elements of Neoplatonism, especially metaphysics and practical or political philosophy which resembles Plato's Republic more than Aristotle's Politics, were also significant influences on his work. What do you think about this video? Let us know down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.